Divorced my ex after I found the bracelets he planned to gift his AP and gave it to our daughter Moss. The look on his face when she opened the gift was priceless. Am I the a-hole for gifting daughter presents meant for husband's side piece? Back in 2018, we went on a Christmas trip to see my now ex-husband's Joe's sister, Jill. He was acting strange and would not talk to me. His sister, whom I had only met once before, ignored me. We had presents sent to her house so we wouldn't have to pack them. While I was wrapping presents, Joe and Jill went outside for a period of time. He wouldn't tell me what they were talking about. When we went to pack up, Joe was very concerned about his backpack. Only he could touch it. I thought this was odd, but whatever. A month prior to leaving, I found a prepaid card in his wallet. I took it to see what he would say. He asked about it and said it was for work. I found it and gave it back to him. About a week later, I asked if he was having an affair. He said no, and I dropped it. We hadn't been in love for quite a while, and I knew we were heading toward divorce. Upon returning from the trip, something told me to look in his backpack. So while he was showering, I looked and found 2 bracelets in a gift bag. I took the 2 bracelets and hid them. All was well until he went to the car to leave. He came storming in, demanding that I give the bracelets back. I simply replied, "What bracelets?" He said he had bought them for me for our anniversary next month. He knows I don't wear bracelets and actually hate them. Why would he be freaking out if the bracelets were for me a month later? He stormed out, and we didn't talk about it again. I was finally able to get into his phone and discovered text messages confirming the affair. Part of me didn't care because we were not in love, but I still felt betrayed. 2 years later, we divorced. While cleaning out our rooms and helping him pack, I found the 2 bracelets I had hidden years ago and forgotten about. I didn't want them, but our middle child, 15 female, loves jewelry. We were separated but decided to have Christmas at the house together. So Christmas morning comes and the kids are opening gifts. The look on Joe's face as our daughter opened the bracelets was priceless. They were rose gold. Her favorite. Her face was beaming with joy. Is that they're looking at the jewelry like a deer in headlights? So am I the a-hole for gifting jewelry to my daughter that was meant for my husband's side piece? Now for the top comments, not the a-hole. You just re-gifted something he had said was meant for you. Exactly. Shouldn't be wasteful now. Should we? Not the a-hole. I know some divorced parents who gifted their children wedding bands as regular jewelry. The idea was not to reuse them as wedding bands. They didn't want to keep them as they were done with the marriage. But since the rings were nice, it made sense to have them worn by their children. This sounds pretty much the same here. Not the a-hole. That's what we call poetic justice. You didn't waste the bracelets out of spite. You gave them to someone who actually appreciated them. Your daughter got a thoughtful gift, and your ex got a silent but devastating reality check. Bonus points for his deer in headlights reaction. His reaction was definitely the icing on the cake. It's like a final touch of closure for you. Plus, your daughter got a lovely gift instead of it going to someone who didn't deserve it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for throwing away my ex-husband's Valentine's gift for his affair partner? My husband, 34 male, and I, 38 female, have been separated for a year, and the divorce was finalized last year. About 3 years prior, I caught him in an affair. He cried, promised things would change, and swore he would never do it again. I was stupid, believed him, and stayed. After countless infidelities, I finally found enough sense and self-respect to leave the relationship. This man gaslighted me to the nth degree about his affairs, to the point where he said I needed therapy for the marriage to continue because of my false assumptions and questioning his trust. In fact, I found solid proof of his multiple affairs just days after his last, "You need therapy for not trusting me" speech. That same day, I asked for a divorce. I later found out through mutual friends that he is expecting a baby, and based on the due date, the conception would have been when we were still together. So there's that. As you can imagine, this has been a lot to deal with. And having to keep in contact with him to complete divorce proceedings and remove his name from my house was painful. Fast forward 1 year today, he has not lived here for a year. This is my house, and his name is not on it in any way. I still get mail for him, and I have constantly and kindly asked him via text to change his address. Each time, he claims he already did and will double-check. Despite this, the mail continues to arrive, including things like insurance cards for his new affair, baby. Just last week, he picked up the last of his belongings and important mail that I had held for months waiting for him to retrieve. I celebrated, thinking this would be the last time I would ever need to contact or see him again. Yesterday, I received a package. Without thinking, I opened it on my way in the door, assuming it was one of my many Amazon purchases. Lol. Well, it turned out to be a jewelry box with 2 rather cheap-looking necklaces inside, something I definitely didn't order. I double-checked the shipping label, and sure enough, it had my ex-husband's name. This is clearly a Valentine's present for the new girl as the rhinestones are green, which I immediately recognized as her birthstone. He never ordered from this company when we were together, so I might have understood if he had an existing account with my address saved. But I don't see that as the case. At this point, I feel like this is almost intentional. How many times can someone accidentally put the wrong address? This man is very much a narcissist, but even I don't know if he would go that far or if he's just that stupid. Would I be the a-hole for throwing the whole package in the trash? I looked it up, and it was under $80. Not fine jewelry by any means. Also, I really want to go no contact moving forward, so I'd rather not text him if it can be avoided. I'd be lying if I said I didn't still harbor resentment and hate, but I feel guilty not giving someone something they paid for. Not the owl. He's deliberately sending things to your address to mess with you. Throw it away and block his number. You deserve peace. And if he does try to make contact, it's a simple, no. None of your trash is here. You're out of my life. Yeah. Deny ever receiving anything. Write return to sender on his mail. Stop holding his stuff. You're still the same doormat that took him back after he cheated over and over. Not the a-hole. The universe literally hand-delivered you some petty justice, and you're debating it? Girl, that package tripped and fell into the trash. Oops. Mini update. First, thank you all for the comments reminding me that I don't owe him anything. I don't know why I still feel guilty for doing what I want to do. I just got home from work, so as of now, the package is still in my possession. Later today, the dreaded text came. No, I have not blocked him yet. He said he just found out they sent another package to my house and claimed he went off on customer service for using his billing address again. I left him on red. Interesting because this is the first package from this company to ever arrive at this house, but mostly, his billing address is still my house. He hasn't changed it. He knows he hasn't changed it, and he feels that's a valid excuse for the mix-up. He's running away from tons of debt collectors. So I'm now starting to put the dots together about why he isn't updating his address. If it was a true mistake, part of me thought maybe he wouldn't have the audacity to reach out to me about the gift to avoid awkwardness or shame due to the nature of the gift. I know if I were in his shoes, I would have written that off as a loss. Moved on with my life and bought a replacement to avoid the awkward and cringy conversation. I've taken the advice of many here and bought a return to sender stamp from Amazon to use on everything else I get from him moving forward. Until then, I hope he doesn't just show up at my house unannounced because I'm not sure how I would respond. I'm going to think on a package one more night before sending it into the abyss. Next story. Am I the a-hole for canceling my wedding after discovering my ex-fiancé's massive gambling debt? I was supposed to marry my ex-fiancé this year. We had everything planned. The venue booked, invitations sent, and a future I thought was secure. But then I discovered a secret she had been hiding from me for years. She was drowning in gambling debt. It started when I noticed a huge amount missing from our wedding fund. When I asked her about it, she got defensive and said it was for unexpected expenses. That didn't sit right with me, so I did something I never thought I'd have to do. I checked her personal finances. What I found made my stomach drop. She had racked up tens of thousands of dollars in gambling debt, maxed out credit cards, payday loans, even money borrowed from friends and family. She had been lying to me for years while secretly burning through cash on online gambling. And worst of all, she had no real plan to stop or pay it back. When I confronted her, she broke down, begged for forgiveness, and swore she'd change. But reality was crystal clear. If I married her, her financial disaster would become mine. Her debt wouldn't just be a problem. It would become our problem. I'd be legally tied to it, cleaning up her mess while she worked on it. I told her I couldn't do it. I'm not marrying someone who lied to me about something this massive. She accused me of abandoning her, saying that if I really loved her, I'd help her through it. But to me, love isn't about blindly taking on someone's self-inflicted financial ruin. Would I be the a-hole for canceling our wedding because of this reason? Not the a-hole. There's really two issues here, either one of which is grounds for canceling the wedding. 1. She will probably destroy you financially. 2. She's a total liar. Combine them together and you dodged a bullet. Even if she doesn't have a job, I could take care of her. Her big debt is another thing. Not the a-hole. You dodged a lifetime of financial chaos. Stay strong. I really feel like it would be a big burden for me to pay her massive debt. I'm just a public teacher, not the a-hole. I used to run a gambling facility. You are right that it could ruin your life/lives. Sorry you're in this position. I wonder if I discovered this sooner, should I be able to help her? Maybe, but if she was hiding it, I doubt it. I used to have customers who would laugh about how their significant other would flip out if they knew what they spent, only to gaslight, break down, and lie when they got caught. Anything to keep gambling. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my husband to stop funding my mother-in-law and sister-in-law's lifestyle? My husband, male 38, and I, female 36, have been married for 6 years now. My pay has always been double his, so I've been taking care of most of the household expenses, like rent, insurance, and utilities while he handles the groceries. I've asked him multiple times over the past few years about having baby and buying a house, but he's always made excuses, saying we don't have enough money for either. So I've been saving as much as I can and putting in extra effort at work to earn more. Recently, I found out that he's been buying a house for his sister, female 36, not married, and paying the mortgage on it for the past couple of years. On top of that, he's been funding their lifestyle and trips even though his sister has a good salary and is working. I feel hurt because he lied to me about our financial situation. He made me believe that he couldn't help us build a life together while I've been managing everything, our expenses, trips, and even saving for a future home. I asked him to stop sending money to his sister, but he refuses to stop paying the mortgage. What should I do? Now for the top comments before reading the mini update. Not the a-hole. You need to get out of that situation. Are you sure that you are not the one paying for his sister's house? She is. If she is funding everything at her home for 2 people except food, then she is literally paying for the whole household. It doesn't matter if her money is going to him and then his to them. Her money might as well be going straight to them. She's been subsidizing her in-laws without knowing. That alone is grounds for divorce. Financial infidelity. Nope. He's a liar. Double insulting because she wants a house and was saving, but he was already funding a house for someone else. He is using you. You don't know if his sister is helping him out by putting the house under her name. If he divorces you, then he keeps the house because it's not under his name. You are literally funding and making this possible because he doesn't have to pay for anything at home besides groceries. I would be so hurt by this that I would leave him. If you're not going to do that, then you need to start splitting everything in half and get your sister or someone you trust to do the same for you. Use their name to buy a house. That way, when you split, the house is yours. Also, I say this kindly, he doesn't want to have children with you. That's just an excuse. If I were you, I would leave him. You are still young enough to find someone who actually does want to start a real family with you. Hopefully, someone who doesn't need a sponsor and can pull their own weight. Mini update. We had a huge fight when I accidentally found out that he has been earning way more than he told me, and I even asked for a divorce. He started crying and said he was embarrassed to tell me the truth. Apparently, his father doesn't have any money, and they've never owned a house. He wanted to buy a home for his mom. His sister took out the home loan, so the house is under her name, even though he's been paying the mortgage. I don't understand why he would find this so embarrassing to hide from me, his wife. He said he'll start saving for our future home, but he insists on continuing to pay the mortgage because he doesn't want to burden his sister. By the way, his sister, female 36, isn't married and is living with my mother-in-law in the house he bought. We have separate accounts, so it was easy for him to lie about his salary and how much she could contribute. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not dating a single dad even if he is a victim? I 19 female recently went on a date with a guy, Ben 25 male, after meeting through mutual friends. He was nice enough at first, but I found out he has 2 kids. One is 7 male, which means he became a dad at 18 with a 19-year-old, and the other is 2 male. I've always known I don't want to date someone with kids. There was nothing wrong with him as a person, but I just couldn't see myself in that situation long term. I'm not particularly a fan of kids. If I have my own someday, we'll see. But that's not happening anytime soon. However, I don't think I could handle being a stepmother. After our first date, he messaged me saying he really liked me and wanted to see me again. I politely told him I didn't think it would work out. That's when he started pressuring me for a reason. He said he thought we clicked so well, we had the same interests, and he didn't understand why I was saying no. I tried to keep it vague at first, but he kept pushing. So I finally told him I wasn't comfortable dating someone with kids. That set him off. He started saying things like how he thought younger girls liked experienced men and that I was being judgmental. Then he said he didn't plan for any of this to happen and asked, "Don't you think I'm a victim? I was just a dumb kid when I had my first, and the second was a surprise. I don't even see the kids that often, so we wouldn't have any problems. I was baby-trapped. I have it way harder than you." At that point, I was done. I didn't reply to him anymore. The mutual friends who set us up, he told them. They said I was being judgmental, that nobody these days cares about how many baby mamas someone has or about being a stepmom. I told them I just don't see myself in that position. My friends said they understand, but that I should still apologize to Ben. So should I do it? I don't think I'm wrong, but my friends say my apologizing would make peace for their relationship with Ben too. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. He played a victim card for sympathy. Red flag. Don't allow your friends to set you up anymore. Right. Ben's scratching my head at that one. So he had unprotected sex, had 2 kids, and he's the victim? Nah. She just needs to ignore everyone who says she's being judgmental. He's just a tool. He needs to own his decisions instead of deflecting blame. Dating a guy with kids when you're not interested is completely valid. Don't apologize. Not the a-hole. I would stay away from a single mom too. And I am 10 years older than you. Number 19-year-old should be dating a man with children, and he doesn't see his kids that often anyway. This isn't the flex he thought it was. He basically told her, I don't take contraception that seriously. And if you happen to get pregnant, better learn that single mom skill now, lol. And even if she would be okay with that setup, the status quo can change quickly. Like, one baby mama dies, or he suddenly has an epiphany that he wants to be in his son's life, and she wouldn't have to deal not only with one, but two of them. Yeah. Hell no.